You are listening to episode 85 of Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John. Here's Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast, we like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we're 30 love in today's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
Deuces, Ryan. All right, so this week, folks, we ended up playing Mario Power Tennis on the Nintendo GameCube. Ryan, we got a lot to talk about on that game. It was fun.
It was a good time.
It was for sure. It was a good time.
Sometimes I forget that we could play fun games for the challenge. Like it's not like we're doing the crappy game challenge or just picking and choosing things. Like sometimes I'm like, man, why don't I just play more fun games?
The crappy game challenge just gives me nightmares. The Miss Spider's Tea Party that we played last year. It was 100% rigged. That was the worst inflation, or not inflation. It wasn't even inflation, deflation. It was just crappy. That's all it was, Ryan. Crappy. So yeah, this week we're going to be discussing that. And then we've got some really cool articles, primarily Last of Us. We've got some information on Billy Mitchell that came out recently in the Video Game Hall of Fame, new inductees. So we'll get into that in a little bit here.
So first off, John, I didn't pick up or play anything this week.
What?
No, I know.
Dude, this is a Game Deflators podcast. We're supposed to talk about games we recently picked up, games we're currently playing, or is it games John is currently picking up and John is currently playing?
This is the I don't know, man.
All right.
It's disappointing.
All right, so Ryan, ask your questions. This is a formal interview around video game pickups.
So John, tell me, what did you play this week?
The real question is, what did I not play this week? Okay, so we'll go into the pickups in a moment. Actually, no, let's do pickups first, because it leads into what I'm currently playing.
Okay, what'd you pick up?
So I picked up Donut County on a Nintendo Switch. It was the last copy at Best Buy, and they're pretty expensive everywhere else right now, so $35 sure. Popa LaCroix, which is a little tactical RPG that is on the PSP. The reason I even found that one is because I'm playing Arc the Lad 3 still, almost done with it, by the way, and Popa LaCroix just came out on there as like one of the PlayStation or Sony RPGs, like one of those specific RPGs tied to Sony. And so I just decided to pick up a copy. I got it for like $25. I got Singularity on the PS3, and then I got Katamari Forever on the PS3. And let's see, what else did I get? Legend of the Tetrarchs on PS4. That one is a limited run games copy that finally came in. Gravity Rush remastered. I'm totally stoked about that, dude. So with that particular game, I didn't even know it existed initially. So I saw
remastered?
The remastered, yeah. So I saw Gravity Rush 2 in the Best Buy one time, and ended up kind of pulling it aside and just saying, this looks kind of cool, but I'll put it aside. And then I saw Gravity Rush 1. Like, I looked it up to see, like, okay, well, there's a 2. There must be a 1, obviously. And upon looking at 1, it was super expensive. And I was like, I'm not paying that rate. I think it was like $100 at that point. It's still like $120, $130. And
on the Vita?
No, that was on PS4. I don't have a Vita. Vita's
okay.
cheaper, I think. And so it happened to be that Game Grinder, who we had a recording with.
Shout out to Game Grinder.
Yeah, shout out to him and Game Tennis Podcast. So he actually did a review on Gravity Rush, and I watched that and immediately was like, I've got to get this game at some point in time, but I'm a cheapskate, so I'm not going to be paying full price on this bad boy. So I've been looking on GameStop's website for on and off for the better part of a year now, and the other day I just happened to be on GameStop's website, checked Gravity Rush, see if it was local, and somebody had traded it in.
Nice.
So I was like, I've got to go get it. I mean, it's
the fools.
I mean, it's honestly, it's more than what it was. This was an Amazon exclusive game, so you weren't going to get it anywhere else but Amazon and now GameStop and eBay. And yeah, essentially, I paid almost half price for the most part for this game going through GameStop. I think it came up to like $65. And on top of it, I picked up that copy of Godzilla the other day, and I actually, I hate to do it sometimes, but I flipped the Godzilla, got double the money back, and then bought the Gravity Rush. Mm-hmm. So it worked out. I was actually talking to Jason over at Corpse Plug Gaming, telling him, like, look, I just picked up this Godzilla. I'm going to try to get like double the money on this and then put it towards Gravity Rush. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what I did, like within a week. So it was pretty cool. And then I also got Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise. So I, for whatever reason, always just despise the Viva Pinata series, but I never really played it. I just thought it was a stupid concept. And then I looked at the art style recently and kind of the gameplay that's tied to it. And I was like, that looks pretty interesting. It's worth me picking up a copy if I can get it cheap.
We talked about that a little bit last week. That's one of those kind of like launch title-y kind of feeling games when we were talking about the Bug Snacks.
Yeah, exactly. And, that type of art style I've actually kind of grown to love anyways because of the Ukulele series. So, and that's like, hold on, I forgot the biggest pickup, dude. I ended up getting a collector's edition of Last of Us Part 2. Sick. Absolutely sick, dude. The statue in there, like the presentation of the box, the feel of the box is like great. It's got like that matte type of satin feel to it.
I know, you've got like so many giant boxes now.
Yeah.
That's the problem with those big special editions. It's like, there's only so many places you could put giant boxes.
Well, and that's I wanted the Ellie edition too, which is bigger than that because it has a backpack.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't get a copy of it. It sold out before I even knew it existed. And every time I tried to go online, like Target had it listed the other day, and I tried to add it to cart and go through the checkout process. Let me get all the way to the end where it was like, oh no, something in your cart's
Psych!
messed up. Yeah, it sucked. I was so pissed, dude. But yeah, so I ended up getting that game as well. So in my currently playing, since you didn't play anything this week, Ryan, disappointing.
Nope, I know.
Shame. Last of Us 2 is amazing. 100% amazing. I am about 4 to 5 hours into the game right now, and I'm just having an absolute blast. I'm not going to have any spoilers on here, but all of the negative hype, I guess, that's come with it, of, will that be in the storyline, and, why she's seeking revenge and everything else, like, that's just a dumb idea, or it's a dumb concept. Like, all of the things that I've heard just everywhere on PlayStation forums, Xbox forums, anywhere you can think of. Come on, like, seriously, it's just haters at that point. Like, they're even, we'll get into it here in a bit, but like, they're review bombing it. You know, like, it's ridiculous. And I'm absolutely loving it. There's nothing janky about the controllers. It's super polished. The overall sneaking around and stealthing, behind enemies and killing is awesome. The ability to pick up items and craft, bandages or really medical kits and Molotov cocktails and all that stuff. Like, it's just like, I remember playing on the first one. So I'm enjoying it so far. The storyline just has me like hooked in right away. With the whole plot to be able to set up the game, it's hooked me in like immediately. I'm absolutely loving this game. And anybody that says it's anything lower than, I would say, a 9 out of 10 is just kidding themselves.
Or lying.
Yeah, or kidding themselves.
I just saw, you playing it for a little bit when I got over here. And, visually, like, the fluidity of the movements and kind of, like, the believability of the reactions and actions just in those few little, like, knife fights you got into there. Like, I was like, this is so dynamic. It's way more than, another game where you've just got this, like, stock standard cut animation that your character's going to do every time. Like, It really looks like somebody, like, moving through the world in a realistic way. And it's like, if the rest of the game is, like, up to that level of quality that I saw just in that few minutes there, like, I can't believe what's going on.
Well, like, in this game you have like some crazy things you're allowed to do, and some of the stuff I remember in the first game, but one of the cool things that I don't recall if it was in the first game or not is the ability to throw a bottle at somebody's head and run up and then just jab them in the temple, with the knife, one of the runners. And then the clickers are just as I remember, creepy as all hell. They have like that raptor type of screech whenever sound comes by them. You saw I was trying to sneak up on one earlier, and I tried to, just before I was about to hit triangle, it just heard me, like just enough tilt on my controller that it heard me move, and it killed me. So that was cool. And then obviously it was funny because you're looking, you're like, aren't you supposed to stealth? And I'm like, one of them saw me. Like, screw it. Like, at this point,
guns
blazing, and got a few headshots, thrown in there, and yeah, it's fun. I'm definitely enjoying it. I'll have more.
How many hours in are you?
About 4 to 5.
4 to 5.
So I'll have some more to talk about it next week. Hopefully I beat it by next week.
Wow. That'd be some dedication.
Dude, when it's...
You haven't put that much time into a game in a single week in a while.
Sekiro.
Yeah.
That was the last one, man. And that was a fantastic game as well. So yeah, I'm totally stoked about it. The other games I'm playing right now are... Geez, man, I'm going to sound like you here in a minute. So I've got ArcLad 3, which is on pause right now until I beat Last of Us. That I am actually at the final area. I'm at the Sky Castle in ArcLad 3. And so I got to tell you, you remember the Rainbow Bridge gang that I talked about? Okay, so there's a final battle for the Rainbow Bridge gang is one of the missions. Now, realize I was skipping ahead. I was like, okay, I'm going to just do the main missions to get to the end of the game. Like
just to get it over with.
Yeah, just get it over with. But as I was going through, there was one mission, and it said final battle with the Rainbow Bridge gang. I'm like, all right, I got to close this arc. 100% have to close this arc. There's no way I can go without doing this. And you go to the bridge, and it's the chief. And he comes up, and he's like, hey, you know, the gang's left me. I've disbanded the gang and everything else. And we're just, we're not going to continue moving on. And then these guys come through like, hey, chief, no, we could take them. Like, if we can beat the guys, like, we need to get the gang back together. Like, we can do this. And so all of them come together, and he's like, all right, fine. If you can beat them, I'll bring the gang back together. Of course, they're so weak, you absolutely demolish them with one magic attack. And he's like, no, we're disbanding the gang forever. And he talks about, like, the chief goes into this whole, they play back like the whole scene, like just everything that's occurred, and they discuss their entire life and what has occurred before that with the battles and him losing, being chief to somebody else, like all these crazy things. And you're just like, oh my God, like facepalm moments as your characters are sitting there like, just shut up, like move on. Then these townspeople come in and are like clapping, are like, bravo, like that was fantastic. Can you do that again at our theater in the town? And we're like, oh yeah, we could do that. Now we're actors. And they walk off. I'm like, this is such
love
bullshit.
A game with some like well-developed side characters.
Oh, it was so funny. And then the other one is, I don't think I talked about this in previous episodes, but you have these merchants and you do these missions for them where they say, and since you're a hunter, you have to do the mission. And essentially, they summon you over, not summon you, but call you out to be able to do this mission. They're like, oh, I want to test out this tonic. It's supposed to prevent monsters from being able to come and attack you. Well, like that one, for example, attracts monsters. So you have battles. Or there's one that says, this is supposed to make you invincible. Like your attack increases. It actually makes you paralyzed.
Oh, wow.
And so you have like one character who's like just knocked out. Like different stuff like that. But every single person's like a member of a family. So you meet the son first, then the daughter or the wife, and then another son, then the husband. And at the end of the game, they all congregate together, and they're found in the most mysterious, like random places. So one of them you find in like a volcano. And they're like, oh, hey, we opened up shop here. Our first customers, like, you're here. This is great. And they're like, why are you in a volcano? Oh, well, we thought this would be a great location for adventurers. And
that's what I was just going to say. Like, I mean, if adventurers are your clientele, you want to be set up in like the most adventurous place, right?
Oh, no, it gets better. So then you go to the Sky Castle and you get up there. And I realized we had to get a blimp together. We had to get that blimp flown up to the Sky Castle, have ropes smash into the Sky Castle so we could get off, and then a blimp explodes, okay, to get up to the Sky Castle. You walk in, you make a left, the whole family's in there like, our first customers.
Nice.
Like, they're here. And they're like, how did you get up here? Like, I just did like 4 missions while this guy rebuilt a blimp to get up here, and you guys are already here. And we're like, oh, well, this is a great location for our shop. Do you need anything? And, you know, just a whole ton of stuff. Like an inn is set up there, and they've got weapons and weaponsmithing and all this other crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just a good laugh, man. Like, moments like that are really things I like about games like this. Kind of like the Wedge and Biggs of the, you know, Final Fantasy games.
Mm-hmm. Or the mysterious shopkeeper, what are you buying?
Yeah, what are you
just
buying?
Like, what are you doing in this castle, dude?
Yeah, like,
I mean, like, you're armed to the teeth. I can imagine how you got here, but why?
Or what's his face from the Dark Souls series? I forget his name, but he's you know, he's got the hat and everything, the one that domes over.
The Onion Knight?
Yeah, no, is it Onion technically? I don't remember the exact term. It's been a while
You're
since I
the
played
Dark Souls guy.
It's been a while. I don't get too deep into the lore on some of these games. But he's a bigger guy, and he gets like stuck in a well, and he's hanging out in different.
I'm pretty sure that's the Onion guy.
And you're just like, what the? Yeah, he looks like an onion. You're just like, what are you doing in these places? Like, why are you here all of a sudden?
Yeah.
So yeah. And then the other thing, last thing I've been playing, or two. God, man, I still got 2 things I'm playing. Ring Fit Adventure is sick.
Sick.
Like, it's just amazing in that I am getting a good quality workout with Ring Fit Adventure, and then at the same time I'm enjoying the game. Like, there's a little story tied to it. It's really cool, like the ability to smash into boxes and jump over things and collect coins. Like, it's actually really cool. And you have like achievable goals while you're playing. Or like, I need to destroy this enemy, so I got to do 20 squats to kill this enemy. So like last night, I did 16 minutes, and it was like 60 squats and like 40 leg raises, and you have like the ring where you can push it in, so it's like 30 of those, and you hold it over your head and push it in. Like, it's just crazy stuff, man. Yoga poses are tied into it. Just, you're always running in place while you're playing, so it tabbed me in at like 0.7 miles while doing all of that other stuff. It's like straight up like a light CrossFit workout without any sort of weights or pull-ups or anything of that nature. It's been really cool, actually. So my wife and I are playing that. We're trying to stay dedicated and do like 15, 16 minutes each every day, except I guess Sunday I'll make that like a rest day. And it takes like 3 months to beat it if you're doing 30 minutes a day, and we're both doing only like 16 minutes a day. So I mean, we may be at this for like 6 months, which is cool. Like, if I could stay dedicated to Ring Fit Adventure, that'll be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And the last thing that we are playing, since my wife and I beat Neverwinter Nights, and then we beat Lumo, which I think I talked about in the last podcast episode, we are now playing Ukulele and the whatever it's called. I forgot the name. The second Ukulele.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're playing that one, and that's also a blast. Like, straight up, you could tell there's so many influences from Donkey Kong. Like, you've got barrels shooting you everywhere, the platforming aspects of it, hitting enemies to be able to jump to higher platforms.
This is a lot more like a Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah.
Than like a Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, definitely like a Donkey Kong Country, but from the top view down, it feels like Mario 3D World. So some of the things, like when you go to the Netherworld in the game, I think it's the Netherworld, it's just, or no, Otherworld or Outer World, I don't remember the exact name, but you've just got this whole big map with things unlocking, so you gotta go to Trouser, the Trouser Snake. I love that name, by the way, and you have to give him coins to be able to open up certain gates to unlock other chapters in the world. And that
kind of
world,
like feeding the bananas to the hippo and the pig.
Yeah, like that kind of
DK64.
Yeah, or like in Banjo-Kazooie, the obvious, like you have to have X amount of honeycombs, and that type of stuff, or notes to be able to get certain places. So, or what is it, Jiggies? I think it's Jiggies to open up doors and such. But yeah, it's the same general concept. World opens up, and that like top view type of world is very much like Mario 3D Land type of thing. Just the flow of it. It's not exactly the same, but it's kind of close, and there's puzzles and such to figure out and tonics to get. We're enjoying it. I would say it's a different experience. Like, I wouldn't compare it to the first one. The first one was great on its own, had a Banjo-Kazooie feel. This is great on its own. It has more of that Donkey Kong Country feel. So they're both...
But they're still separately their own thing.
Yeah, I would say they're definitely their own thing. I mean, you can't compare the two. I mean, you can to say, like, do I like one better than two? I probably would have liked to have seen another, like, one type of style, like that Banjo-Kazooie style, because that's what I came to love about the first one. But I'm absolutely cool with the platformer style as well. Like, that type of platformer.
How long do you think it's going to take you guys on this one?
Oh, man, dude, there's like... God, how many chapters are in this game? It's like 52 Bs you got to get. So we've only unlocked like half the world, and we're only on like chapter 14.
Okay.
So there's probably
you'd be at it for a few more weeks.
Oh, longer than that. I'll probably be at this for, I guess like maybe 3 weeks.
Well, depending on Last of Us.
Yeah, and depending how dedicated my wife and I are to playing that particular game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay, well, I took a long ass time, dude. Let's get to article number 1. So The Last of Us Part 2 is getting, predictably, user score bombed on Metacritic. Do we have the score up?
So no, we don't.
Okay,
but this is by Paul Tassi at Forbes. And, review bombing is like this new trend that happens, and sometimes it happens for good. Like, I fully agree with what happened with the review bombing for the, what was the Warcraft remake, the World of Warcraft 3 remake that came out that was like absolutely terrible. Like, I guess not terrible, like they promised so much and showed all this footage for stuff that didn't make it into the game, so everybody went online and just review bombed it, and then made it the lowest reviewed game on Metacritic by finding the next lowest reviewed games and raising the scores up on those so they could bury it even further. I agree with that. That's a protest. But for a game like, I don't know exactly what the timing was, but like it's supposed to be like a 25 to 30 hour game or something, and people were just posting zeros like hours after the game came out. Like there's no conceivable way that you could have played through this game and had a bad enough time with it that you thought it deserved a 0. I mean, the visuals, John says the gameplay is pretty good. I mean, I didn't like the first one too much myself, but I just didn't really push through it. You know me, I'm easy give up. I don't think that something that was that high a quality in the first place, like, you would have to really, really betray the audience to like deserve like a 0.
Well, and here's what pisses me off about some of these reviews. Okay, here's a zero review on Metacritic. This game is full political statement. It's more political statement than a game. It's like a bad movie plot. Forced out of place characters and pushed a political agenda. Okay, you obviously didn't play this. You don't agree with the political, okay, Ellie's a lesbian in the game. Tough shit. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you don't stand for that? Okay, cool.
Don't play the game.
Don't play the game. Like, why are you going to put out a negative review?
People are just like, it's a very tumultuous time. People choose to be negative online, and it's difficult to control those. And I mean, no matter how much game companies want to try to remain neutral to appeal to the broadest common denominator and get the most sales on their game, like,
well, and dude, get just more of these like this. I'm just going to call out some of these because they're ridiculous, and just so people listening understand. But
I don't think we need to boost all those messages.
I understand that, but it's to kind of get an idea so people know that of the 29,000 reviews that are on here, realize Last of Us Remastered only has 9,000 reviews,
and that's over the course of its entire lifespan. This is 24,000 in like the last
2 days.
And
nobody has played 30 hours of gameplay in 2 days.
I mean, there's definitely some people on this list.
Yeah, the dedicated people.
Yeah, and I guarantee you they're not the ones posting the zeros.
If I see 5 and 6 star reviews of I just beat this game, I blazed through it, okay, cool. Like, I totally get that. But like, this game is nothing but homosexuality and promotion of violence and revenge, or very bad plot, total SWJ propaganda. It's not even SWJ, it's SJW.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even get that right. So, like, you parasite on Joel character. It's just stupid.
That's the broadest common denominator that they're trying to appeal to here. And, you know, the politics of games, like, you can't really separate those things. Like, the creators, you know, live in our world and they get inspired by things that are going on. And, you know, art has always been used as a platform to demonstrate, you know, not only social change and political change, but also as a way to comment on those things and give people who maybe aren't directly involved or don't interact with that part of the world in their life. It gives you another way to interact with those types of things. Like, if you're not into watching the news and you still want to see things in the media that are reflective of the world you live in, going through art is another outlet for that. And, you know, if you don't agree with that, you know, keep it to yourself. Like, you don't have to go out there and dump on something that so many people have worked so hard to do and put this stain on their record because you feel insecure and don't know how to, you know, address what you have going on.
Well, I mean, if you look at art throughout the ages, you know, you've got nude statues, like the statue of David has a dong hanging out, you know, like there's all these crazy things of it. And like, just art is just an expression of, you know, just, it's an expression, right? So you've got Naughty Dog creating this fantastic game. They have, there might be some social items that are touched upon in the game, but I don't necessarily, in what I've played so far, it's not pushing an agenda. It's not saying you have to be this or have to be that. Like, this is a story of, you know, somebody that's in love, and there's revenge that's tied to this as well. And there's other components of it. Like, I don't want to do any spoilers, but the revenge component of this, from the world that they live in, is fully justified in what I have played based on the game, right? So I'm not saying like if this happened to me, I would go out on and go crazy, right? But based on a video game and this series and this world and where it takes place, her revenge, plot or her revenge path is fully justified, and the way that it's depicted and the way you see this go down, it's brutal, and it's something that I can't wait to get more into. And so here's actually an 8 out of 10 review, and he just says the story is different from the first game, the game is incredible, characters are amazing, gameplay is better than the first game, which so far I agree with. I see why people are mad, but that's understandable. The game is hard to consume, it's just depressing, but that's what makes it good. And I was super depressed last night going to bed based on what I saw.
Well, and that's another thing that art does is like good art will challenge you.
Yeah.
So to be challenged by a game or a film or, God knows there's probably a ton of novels out there that are super challenging just to get through. Like putting that challenge in front of you will help you like gain some of that depth that you're trying to look for in that material. So it's like not every game should be, a lighthearted romp like Mario or a mindless shoot fest like Call of Duty. Like there's definitely room in the gaming ecosystem for games like this to exist. And I mean, Lord knows this conversation has been had like 100 million times already about other games as art and such.
Yeah.
But like to put out like a very like actually mature we use as a rating to talk about, how much explicits and how much gore and violence and what the themes are of certain things if they're a little bit darker. Like we use that as our rating for mature, but like mature in the sense of like a real emotional story that deals with like adult, themes and topics and like, some deep context, like that's a level of mature that we don't get often enough in gaming. And Metacritic's such kind of a BS thing anyways. Like if you're that into Metacritic that you have an account and you're on there rating stuff just to bomb, like obviously you're whoever, but like the Metacritic score shouldn't really dictate what you're willing to play. Like, I mean, you might cap yourself out and say, I'm never going to play anything below a 5. That's probably a fair, point to have, but like if you're going to not play something because 20,000 people said rah 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 rah, like you're not really, it's not going to stop anybody. You're just
exactly.
being an ass.
And it shouldn't. I mean, it's just kind of frustrating when you look at, a company like Naughty Dog has spent years perfecting this and making this a top-notch game for the fans, and to see like negative backlash from people that aren't even going to enjoy the game. They're not going to play it. They just want to be asses about it. And, and it's not to say, you had made a point where, and I hate to do the whole political thing, but, you had made a point that, if you don't like it, they're not pushing anything on you and all that. I get where that side is coming from, because like, oh, well, you're making this just a norm and I don't believe in that and whatnot. Okay, fine. But to your point, it is artwork. So if you're going to bash this type of artwork, then you need to bash other types of artwork and other types of things that are out in the world that depict certain activities that are occurring. Like, how many sexual paintings there are out in the world? And this is what's getting, the hype right now because it's a violent video game that happens to have lesbians. And on top of that, I was talking to Church and Jason the other day, and they're like, oh yeah, like we knew you hadn't played the DLC because last week I'd mentioned like, Ellie's kind of a lesbian out of nowhere for me. But the DLC really does break that down from The Last of Us Part 1. Like I think it's The Last of Us, The Left Behind, I think it's what it's called. But it breaks down like her whole background story and how she got bit and everything else. And so this has been knowledge through that and comic books for 7 years now. Yeah, that's the thing. So, some people don't have that exposure. Like if some people like just attach to that first game, and games kind of do a bad job sometimes of like letting you understand like what you're getting in the DLC, or what other avenues there are to get more information about these characters and outside things like comic book tie-ins and stuff. That stuff happens all the time, and the amount of people that actually
like engage with that material is so low compared to the people who just play the game.
Well, and I'll be honest. So, like, I beat Last of Us Part 1 and really enjoyed the game. It was awesome. And obviously, my excitement towards this game was because of that. But I never did play the DLC. And I never did read the comics that are tied to it. I didn't get fully enveloped in the entire world of The Last of Us. I really wish I did at this point. And that's why, like, before I even started the game, like, I had a good hour and a half where it was just, you know, I could have started playing Last of Us 2. But I said, no, I want to sit back and I want to read back on the story and have a full understanding of, you know, what happened. So I pulled up a Last of Us DLC movie, in a sense, which had the cutscenes and pieces leading up to the cutscenes to fully understand the story before I jumped into this and made like some, you know, rash, you know, statement about, oh, well, here's what's going on and here's why I don't agree with it or whatever may have occurred. But
because you're taking this deep story out of context.
Yeah.
If you don't have all those pieces.
Yeah. So to say, you know, and I misspoke last week on it, but, you know, there's a lot of people here that are showing a lot of hate for this game because of the context. But it's like, this has been knowledge for quite some time, and now you're hating on it? Like, why didn't you hate on it 7 years ago? I mean, maybe they did, and it just wasn't a big deal back then.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because of just the political spectrum right now, what's going on, and I mean, it's just, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and maybe that's kind of pumping out that
whenever tensions are
group.
high,
Yeah.
you know, tensions get high everywhere, you know, like you
here's the thing.
It's going to be a good game.
The game, well, it is a good game. The game is amazing. If you're listening and you haven't picked it up, or you're on the fence on whether you want to play it, if you hadn't played Last of Us 1, play Last of Us 1, play the DLC if you can. It'll be on the remastered one, I heard. And if you can, read the comics. Just find a copy of the comics and jump into this one. Like, it's a fantastic story. The first one was great. This one is just as great. Hopefully it's better. And it's amazing so far. I'm loving it. So,
if you haven't played it yet,
quote McDonald's, I'm loving it.
If you haven't played it yet, avoid reading any kind of like comments or stuff, because I guess people are also spamming spoilers like crazy. So if you want to go through unspoiled and you're listening to this before you played it for some reason, then
right.
I guess you're taking this at your own pace already, but watch out.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, we would have said spoilers in advance. So yeah, no spoilers on that. It's amazing. It's totally worth the money to pick this up. If you can find a collector's edition, I think Amazon still has them out as of today. I love the collector's edition. It was awesome with the statue and all the pieces that came in with it. And I can't wait to talk more about this game, man. It is super exciting. Been waiting a long time for it. I'm so giddy over it, and I can't wait to get deeper into the story. Okay.
Next up.
Off of our soapboxes and on to Billy Mitchell.
So we've got Guinness reverses decision to strip Billy Mitchell's Pac-Man and Donkey Kong records. This comes to us from Sean O'Kane at The Verge.
So, you had not seen yet King of Kong Fistful of Quarters, from what I understand.
I haven't seen it. I've heard of it. I definitely know about this guy. I definitely know that there was like some controversy about it. I want to say maybe I saw something on the Gaming Historian or somewhere on YouTube.
I think we had an episode last year, I want to say.
Did we talk about
with
this?
A former co-host where we had discussed, I think when they actually took away the actual records. I want to say we discussed it last year. But I do know I've shared some articles. Like when they first stripped it away, it was hilarious. It's just because the guy's an asshole. He straight up is. And like when you watch King of Kong, since it is on YouTube, so anybody that hasn't seen it,
yeah,
watch
I found
it
on YouTube. I don't know if that's like a legit source, but I Googled it and it came up with a YouTube thing. And
well, it's like a documentary style.
I know there's a lot of gaming documentaries available on YouTube, though.
Yeah, and this one's actually really good. Like if you didn't have any knowledge or don't have any knowledge about like the arcade, like what is it, Twin Galaxies and
yeah,
and the records and everything, their whole process and how they manage things back during that period of time. I think it was the 80s for that. And if you don't have any idea on like the whole arcade scene at that point in time and records and people trying to get high scores and all that, this is a great documentary that really does go in depth on Billy Mitchell and who was the second guy?
It doesn't say in the article.
I'll look it up for us here in a moment. But yeah, so pretty much the King of Kong Fistful of Quarters goes through, I forget his name offhand, but it's his story and how he basically busted his ass to try and get a high score in Donkey Kong. And it just shows like his whole process of like, oh my god, so I had to do this and then get to this point and you get to X level and you have to start over. Like this guy was straight up dedicated.
I can't arcade like that. I can't even regular game like that.
Yeah.
Like people that could just do like arcade games, that's beyond me. Like there's just something about the high score chasing mentality that I can't get behind. Like it's not enough motivation for me to get so involved to just try to crush high score on most arcade games. Like the hardest core I ever went was with Asura when I got into the leaderboards.
It's a Steve Wibby, by the way. That's the that is our guy. So yeah, it basically goes into his whole story and how he did, got to that point. And then Billy Mitchell's on the other end, like every time Steve like broke a record or whatever it may be, Billy Mitchell's over here breaking the record right off the bat.
Right
like,
back.
Yeah, like how the hell is this possible? So it goes through kind of this like challenge of the two. And I don't recall exactly, but I want to say that they went to, it might have been Twin Galaxies, where Wibby was playing the game and they were going to try and get both of them there. And so Billy Mitchell ends up sending in a recording of his record to show that he beat it. So Wibby sets a record and everything. Everybody's going crazy. Everything's set. Like he's, super pumped, obviously, and worn down from playing this game as long as he has. And we're like, oh, by the way, we have the recording from Billy Mitchell.
Oh, he just like mailed it in.
He mailed it in to show that he had beat it. And there was a lot of controversy on the tape that showed, I want to say there were like lines where it just kind of looked like he was cheating while playing the game. And it didn't look like valid footage and it looked like it was tampered with, basically. And so
you couldn't trust it at face value. And it's like, if you're going to do something that's going to be like, I mean, if you're going to do anything, especially nowadays, there's really not that much of an excuse for poor footage. Like this wasn't years and years ago. It's not like this happened in like the 70s. Like this happened in like, what was it, 2018 or something?
No, man, this is like the 80s.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I'll double check here so I'm not like speaking out of turn. 2003, roughly, it says.
Okay.
And then
2018 was when he had his record stripped.
Yeah, and then the movie itself premiered in 2007. So this wasn't like, just a couple of years ago. This has been something for a while.
They decided to strip him of his record back in 2018, and in this article that we're actually talking about, like, they reinstated his record because they went back, they talked to some people and reviewed the footage, and
they basically said it was
time goes on.
They said it was inconclusive, that they couldn't really, based on the footage. Basically, Mitchell appealed the records being reversed, and or really being taken away. And essentially, Guinness said, okay, well, based on our policy and what we have for all records and what happens, Mitchell's appeal actually fit, their policy of it has to be like inconclusive. There has to be, 100%, like kind of like with NFL reviews, they have to be 100% sure. They just can't be 50-50 when like a fumble or an interception or something occurs. Like there has to be, conclusive evidence to show that a decision is made final or can be reversed. And so Guinness pretty much determined we really didn't have enough to take away these to begin with, so we have to reverse it. So that's kind of what it came down to. Honestly, I would just say the guy needs to get on a stage and just set the record straight.
Well, how many times
it.
Can you do that? How many times can you play a perfect game?
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, if he's been doing it for as many years as he can, the guy's a Pac-Man master, like.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, people are professional bowlers, and that doesn't mean that every time they go bowling they hit a 300.
Yeah, but they get damn close. So it's not to say that, what if he got to Pac-Man, he was like a level short type of thing, right? Like, it's just wears on you. I don't remember how old he is. I think he's in his 40s or 50s now. Here, I'll take a look really quick.
Yeah, I mean, your dexterity definitely goes down. Like, you're not going to be able to keep up with the youngins.
Yeah, Billy Mitchell's 54 years old. So, I mean, if you put Billy Mitchell on the stage right now and say, go through all that, every Pac-Man level and every Donkey Kong level you can until you set the record, I mean, his, it's just kind of not going to happen, compared to somebody half his age, potentially. Not to say he can't play still, but, it's just not as fluid. The motions just aren't there. As you get older, it's just science. You know? You start losing some of those movements, or not losing them, but you're not as good. You're not as good of a gamer.
We all know how aging works, John.
Yeah, we all know how aging works. Okay, so regardless, do you agree or disagree with Guinness's decision?
You know, Twin Galaxies is not going to reverse their decision, and from everything that I've learned about Guinness, they're not really like a straight up great organization themselves anyways, and you can basically just kind of buy records from Guinness.
Seriously?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, like, you get so much credibility from being like in the Guinness Book of World Records or whatever, but they regularly take money from like people they probably shouldn't take money from for people to make records that they don't need to make. It's really weird. Like there's this one country I saw in the Dark Tourism docuseries on Netflix. Some country, I can't remember what it is, but they have this giant city that's almost completely empty that they built for hosting some type of Olympic type thing, but not as big as the Olympic. Think of like the JV Olympics, I guess. And like nobody lives there. Nobody really uses it, but they have like the largest indoor Ferris wheel they built there. And it's probably a country that like shouldn't have spent that money on those extravagant things and then paid Guinness Book of World Records a bunch of money to go over there so they could have this obscure record. Like they take a bunch of money from people that they shouldn't be taking money from for stupid reasons. I think it was John Oliver covered this one week on his show talking about it. It's, I don't know. It was a weird thing, but I would stick with Twin Galaxies. Twin Galaxies is the authority on like video gaming records as kind of established by the video gaming community, and Guinness is one of those big organizations that, you know, is kind of over everything and really doesn't care. So I think that their opinion holds less weight in the gaming community compared to Twin Galaxies. So
yeah, and I think that's fair, man.
If Guinness wants to change its mind, that's Guinness's prerogative, but I don't think that they're the ones who should be speaking on it for everybody.
Well, and you know, just to make notes, and nobody's here saying, "Oh, well, Billy Mitchell doesn't hold the record." Yeah, we know that Billy Mitchell does not, from what I know, does not hold the record right now for, you know, Donkey Kong and Pac-Man. I think that's been broken several times over the years. Pac-Man in particular, the record is shown on there as the first person to essentially get to that end screen, if I'm correct. So that's what the record is in Guinness. So it's pretty much just saying all of his records that were in Guinness are just kind of reinstated, basically. So anybody, like if he's number 5 on something, like he's back to being number 5. He isn't removed. And then let's see. So I think here it is. It looks like Hank Chine, it looks like. No, former record holder of Kong Off. Yeah, we can get into a little deeper down the road, but, you know, all I would recommend is watch King of Kong Fistful of Quarters. Look at the overall, you know, people that have come after Wibby and after Mitchell and obviously broken records for these games. It's actually a really interesting, you know, interesting side of gaming.
Of our community.
Yeah, it's a really interesting side. We're not as involved in the arcade type community, although we love going to arcades when we get the chance. You know, shout out to Starfighters because they have a great arcade there. But yeah, you know, make your own judgment on this. Check out all the information that there is, and you know, let us know on our social media platforms what you think. So find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Game Deflators and at Game Deflators, and just let us know what you think on this.
All right. Cool. So last up this year, we have the inductees to the Video Game Hall of Fame. The nominees, the 12 finalists, were Bejeweled, Centipede, Frogger, GoldenEye 007, Guitar Hero, King's Quest, Minecraft, NBA Jam, Nokia Snake, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. That was the top 12 finalists. And
drum roll, Ryan. Who are the 4 inductees? We've got Bejeweled, Centipede, King's Quest, and Minecraft. Woo! What the hell? What is this? Like,
I think that's a solid set. Like, I've never
Bejeweled?
Yeah,
over
dude.
Smash Bros?
Okay, so this is the thing. This is
or Nokia Snake? Come on. Nokia Snake was definitely a better game than Bejeweled, and had a lot more influence in all of us as gamers than Bejeweled. Like, our moms played Bejeweled.
I played Bejeweled.
Okay, well, Ryan and our moms played Bejeweled.
But Bejeweled led the way to Candy Crush and
Do you play Candy
Puzzle
Crush?
Quest.
Do you play those games?
I played all of those games.
It led us to terrible phone-based games that literally have the exact same concept in every single game.
Yeah, but the
you
match
line up 3 things and they blow up, and then you have a little jewel, and then that blows up more
Dude,
stuff.
you like Puyo Puyo.
Okay, Puyo
That's
Puyo's
the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
It's similar.
It's kind of like Tetris. These other ones are literally just a remask of Bejeweled.
Yeah, I think that it's a good list. I mean, I guess I could argue Bejeweled, but I think that King's Quest and Centipede are definitely
And
deserve
Minecraft.
to be on there.
Minecraft. Microsoft paid them off.
Well, yeah, but Minecraft's like probably one of the best games of all time. Like, it'll definitely go down as that. Like 30 years from now, when people have forgotten.
100% influential. But come on, Nokia Snake. How did Nokia Snake not make it to this list?
I don't know. Maybe regular Snake's already on there.
And for anybody that's like below the age of 25,
if you don't know what a Nokia is,
then you're not old enough.
We're not talking to you.
No, we'll talk to you. You should listen to our podcast. But yeah, you're just not old enough. You wouldn't understand the pain of having to light up your parents' Nokia phone to play Snake on the little light up green screen. It was like a poor guy's Game Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I used to play that all the time.
Even though it probably cost more than a Game Boy.
Yeah, it probably cost more, and really all you had was Snake.
Yeah.
And maybe Frogger. I don't remember if we had Frogger or not on ours. But Nokia Snake, come on. It's fantastic. It should have beat Bejeweled. What else was on there again?
You want me to read them again?
Yeah, read them again. The people need to know. They don't want to hit play again.
Okay,
rewind.
So Bejeweled, Centipede, Frogger, GoldenEye 007, Guitar Hero, King's Quest, Minecraft, NBA Jam, Nokia Snake, Super Smash Bros. Melee, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
So some of those would be debatable. Where in the World's Carmen Sandiego? Uncharted 2, I don't know why that would be on there right now, given it's, 10 years ago
Well,
it came
that's
out?
the thing. These are from all different,
I get that.
ages and genres and stuff. Like,
Well,
I don't know who nominates this stuff every year, but, I mean, once you're nominated, it's not like you can never be nominated again.
Well, true, but do you think Guitar Hero should have beat out Bejeweled, for example? I would say, yeah. Guitar Hero just opened up a whole other movement of gaming.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to talk access, Bejeweled has more people have played Bejeweled than have played Guitar Hero.
Well, yeah, because moms aren't sitting there playing Guitar Hero.
So moms don't deserve to be represented in the Hall of Fame?
Well, they do, but Bejeweled
Mom
doesn't.
games.
Well, then there should be a separate category, mom games. It should have Bejeweled, Candy
So
Crush.
they got action platformers, we got shovelware, we got mom games.
Yeah, so like Farmville has its own category. Bejeweled goes in that category. Candy Crush, really all just the bad games. All of those games go in that one category.
Hey, they're all good to some people.
Okay, I will give you that.
Remember, John.
One man's trash is another man's treasure.
Super Mario Bros. 2 is somebody's favorite Mario game.
So we do a lot of posting on Facebook and such, and one of the things that I noticed whenever we've mentioned Mario 2 is out of the woodwork, all these Mario 2 fans just come out of nowhere like, oh, it's the best Mario ever. I'm like, okay, it's different. Like, it's not the best ever, though. Like, all of these Mario fans, Mario 2 specifically, and oh, you don't like Mario 2? You must hate Mario. No, I don't. I just like good video games.
So that's the Video Game Hall of Fame for this year. I mean, I guess bringing in 4 a year is...
I think we did this last year, too.
Probably. I don't know. We'll check up on it next year. We'll see what happens next year.
So folks knowing or want to know about this, really, this one was just an article I found yesterday and was like, Ryan, this is pretty cool. We should talk about it. And I think this is actually the exact same thing that happened last year, where I was like, Ryan, look, I found, people have inducted in the Video Game Hall of Fame. And you're like, oh, we'll check on it next year.
If you were going to play one of those 4 games today, John, which would you play?
Centipede.
Same here.
Okay.
I love Centipede. Centipede was like I got one of those stupid like Atari joystick things you just plug into your AV cables for the TV, and I used to play like Centipede for like an hour.
I've got like a couple copies of Centipede here, but no, whenever we hit Starfighters, we actually play a lot of Centipede and a lot of Millipede when we're there. It's always fun to, beat the records that are on the screen.
Well, speaking of joining an elite list of games, that was weird. Elite list. An elite list of games. This week in the Inflation Deflation Challenge, we have Mario Power Tennis for the GameCube. This was developed by Camelot Software Planning, published by Nintendo, designer Haruki Kodera, released in October 2004. It is indeed a sports game, and it received about a 8 out of 10, and I'm inclined to agree. I really enjoy me some Mario X Sports, especially the tennis series is the one that I've played the most, unless you count karting and brawling. I think that it was a fun game. I definitely remember playing this. I definitely played more of the Mario Tennis for N64 than I did for the GameCube, but I think it's a great series. I love the idea of tennis, not so much the playing or watching of actual tennis. So this is the perfect middle ground where you can both play and watch at the same time, and it's better than doing either in real life.
Oh, dude, I love playing tennis in real life. It's fun.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Ryan just doesn't like working out.
I just don't like...
That's really what it comes down to.
I just don't like things. There's just things out there, and I don't like them.
Like, Ryan, look, Ring Fit Adventure, you should try this. Oh, that's cool. Wait a second. Do I have to stand up for this?
Right?
Do I have to run? No, I'll just watch you play, John.
I'll get down on some VR and some DDR.
Okay, yeah, I guess you can get down on that. I've seen you play those. Well, not VR, but I've seen you play DDR. So this game, is probably the second sports game that we've reviewed.
Is it?
Yeah, because we did Wayne Gretzky on the Super Nintendo, and I kicked your ass in that.
Yeah, but did you kick my ass in something else too?
Yeah, actually, Mario Power Tennis today.
Yeah, shit, we were close. We were very close.
For a while there, it was actually just all John for quite a while. And then you came storming back.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, we had you actually tied it, as a matter of fact.
I tied it up, and then we got into this mode where it was just like, we kept switching, and it was like 3-6, and it's like, what does that even mean?
It was basically best of 5 on the points, right? So it was best of 5 on points, or first to 5 on points. So I guess best out of 9, technically. And so Ryan was up like 3-0 on me. And I just came roaring back, knocked in 5 points.
You got a handle on
row.
that hammer.
Oh, yeah, that hammer was just... Mario was... you don't come into Mario's house to play tennis and think you're going to come out
I was
winning.
playing Shy Guy. I had my super reach spear.
That was absurd.
Yeah.
Super absurd. Like, I'm hitting, like, corners, and Ryan's, like, way the hell on the other side of the court, and Shy Guy just throws out his spear.
Just like Mr. Elastic.
Oh, my God, I hated that so much. And Mario just has his hammer and his stupid spin. But yeah, so this is the second sports game we've done. Second one I've kicked your ass in. And 8 out of 10, I too would agree, Ryan. I think it's totally an 8 out of 10 type game.
I mean, if you've ever played any of the Mario sports games,
they're fun.
Yeah, their quality is outstanding. It's always a pretty good use of the characters, like especially in this one, like not so much in the first one, but like in this one, like that like tribal Shy Guy aesthetic is pulled in from kind of the outer Mario world, kind of him using his big hammer. That's kind of some outside stuff. It kind of has those elements that you see in Smash where it's like you get to see those extra bits of those characters, and it kind of makes it feel like, oh yeah, I forgot that Mario did this too. It's always great to see that extension kind of brought in by these third parties.
Yeah, like I've actually enjoyed the Mario Olympics games in the past. They've been pretty fun, but we should probably play some Mario Baseball.
Did you get Mario Sonic at the Tokyo Games 2020?
No, I didn't.
Because it's not really happening. That'll be the only Olympics going on this year.
That's true. Actually, I should look into
it. It kind of stands out as an interesting point in history.
Is it still out right now? It's probably gone up in price.
It's probably sold out like everything else everywhere.
Well, yeah, that's true. Everything is sold out right now.
Well, speaking of prices and everything being sold out everywhere right now, let's talk price. So, Mario Power Tennis for the GameCube, complete in box is going to run you $31.35. That's peaking right now. This is one of those ones that we don't really have any data before April 2013 on the complete in box price, but right now it's shooting up because everybody who was in quarantine was buying games and jacked up all the prices. You're welcome. Loose, though, you can get it for $17.80. That peaked at $57 in December 2006.
That's really odd, man.
And that's trending up right now.
Yeah, I don't know, man. A peak of $57. What other data is there? Is that consistent? Like, it was just, or was that one?
No. So if you look at the price charting on that, it was at 57 in 2006. By a year later, it was still at like 35.
Okay,
Jumped back up to 44 again, and then it really kind of dove down and hit the under $10 range back in 2010, and it's been kind of living there and rising up to the 15-ish ever since.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, yeah, I was looking at 57. Like, that's crazy that, they don't have enough data for a complete in box. It's that high, and we're at the peak right now, but 57 back in 06. So yeah, that's interesting.
So it's definitely one of those games that has resulted in a huge hike in the last couple months. I mean, before all the COVID nonsense, it was back in January. It was sitting at $19.88 for complete.
Yeah, so it's gone up 33% roughly.
Yeah,
something like that, 50%.
So now's probably not the right time to buy this game. I would say.
Well,
I would say that right now's probably not the right time to buy a lot of these games because they're probably going to come back down.
Well, I don't know, man, because, something that we really haven't discussed.
Or do you think we're aging into the GameCube becoming the key collection?
Yeah, I think we're kind of getting that point. So collecting is really around nostalgia for people, right? So a lot of folks that were playing the GameCube back when they were younger, they're grown up now and wanting to play GameCube. Same as going for PS2. Obviously, you saw my copy of Kuon, which I am absolutely floored, but it's $500. But yeah, I mean, we're seeing PS2 games are skyrocketing right now. You're seeing RPGs on PS1 skyrocket. GameCube games are going up. N64 is going up. Like, there's a lot of nostalgia kicking in right now. But if you look at stuff like Super Nintendo and NES and Sega Genesis, I don't necessarily know that those are going up so high right now compared to GameCube games like Animal Crossing going from like $15, $20 to $80 overnight type of thing. So, I'd have to look into a little more to see like the prices for some of the other consoles and what they're averaging. I'm sure everything's high across the board regardless, but I think GameCube and PS2 and that kind of area is where it's starting to kind of spike a little bit more due to that nostalgia kick that comes in, every several years. It just gets to a point where, oh, cool, like those old games that I played, I want to play them again.
Yeah, you got to figure maybe like, 10 to 15 years? Basically, when you were a kid and you were playing stuff, add however long it takes you to make enough money to buy that stuff again. That's what's going to be like the new hot.
Yeah, and PS3 is getting, it's not at that point yet, but PS3 is going to pick up steam here, I would say, in the next couple of years, if it hasn't already.
I can't imagine. Could you imagine? Hey, all you out there listening, let us know if you're young people, because that would be cool to know. But, like, what was it like to have the PlayStation 3 as your first console? Like, not even to have to worry about, like, 32-bit system coming at you. Like, none of that, like, fake hype about, like, the new power of the ultimate and does what Nintendo don't. Like, you're so far beyond that. You were living in a world of, like, wow, man, everything's freaking amazing. Like, even the crappy games are awesome.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, somebody back then was probably, 8, 9 years old, could have been their first console, get a PS3. Like,
somebody
got sitting there like it's my fourth generation console, really.
Yeah, somebody got a PS3 and a copy of Africa for Christmas, John. Could you imagine?
You know how disappointed they probably were and said, I don't like this, and trade in. And then they're going to go back for nostalgia's sake and say, oh, man, I really wish I had that copy of Africa still. Good God. Like, that's really where PS3 gaming is for me right now. I mean, you know that I pick up a lot of PS3 games when I can, complete in box, because I just know that there's titles out there that are super obscure, and I'm not going to come across them. There's tons of RPGs that are already going up in price on the PS3, and you know me, man. I like to collect my RPGs, so...
Yeah, I think the PS3 is probably the console that I engaged with the least.
Really?
Because, yeah, like, I had one, and then I sold it for rent money. And then I bought one many years later. I got a bundle one with Grand Theft Auto 5 when that came out. And then I don't think I ever bought like another game for it after I got Grand Theft Auto 5 and Zone of the Enders and God of War. And no, I probably bought a few more things, but I just didn't play it that much. Anyways, this is all...
I was going to say,
we're talking Mario Power Tennis. Where the hell did we get on this?
From collecting. Come
Gosh.
on. Okay, so
we talk about collecting here.
We already talked brass tacks. God, man, we have some bad ADD sometimes. All right, so we already talked brass tacks on price point.
Yep.
Where are you at? What do you think? Inflated, deflated, just right?
Dude, you know what? I love me some GameCube. I love me some Mario, but I think that you could... This is the thing. The newest Mario Tennis game that came out, I don't think that this game is better than that, and I think that they'll probably... I don't know. Let me look up how much that one is.
It's probably like $40-$50 right now.
You think?
It's a Switch game.
Okay.
Their games don't drop in price.
Okay.
Very rarely. Stuff like Mario Rabbids is like where you're going to have the random price drops, but like a Mario game, like Power Tennis or anything like that, is typically going to stay at least 35 plus.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I definitely know that I've heard that the Wii Mario Tennis,
The Wii U one?
yeah, wasn't super great.
Well, I mean, I want to play that just to have it. Look, here's the thing. It's tennis. You're either going to like tennis, you're not going to like tennis. If you've been playing the Mario Tennis games from, I think, all the way back to, like you said, GameCube, then...
N64.
Or sorry, not GameCube. I meant N64, actually. That was in my mind while saying it. So yeah, if you've been playing all the way back from N64 and you get to the Wii U version, like, hey, this isn't that good, okay, that's cool. But if you haven't played a Mario Tennis game and you've got a Wii U or you have a Switch, you don't necessarily need to go get a GameCube and buy one and buy this. I mean, it's tennis. Tennis is fun to play as Mario, and yeah, I don't think you really need to pay $30 for this.
So Mario Power Tennis for the GameCube is...
You mean the Switch one?
No, for the GameCube. The one we're talking about right now is the... It's not as expensive as Mario Tennis for the N64, and it's not as expensive as Mario Tennis Aces for the Switch. So it's probably the best, cheapest Mario Tennis game that you can get.
Because I wanted to go that route.
Yeah, because I don't think that the Wii U, the Tennis Ultra Smash, I don't think that that one is as good as this one. So I think that for the $31.35 that you would pay for this, you're going to get the best Mario Tennis experience at the lowest price point. So I'm going to say that it's worth it. I think that $30 might be expensive, but I think that that's what you're saying. That's just what you're going to pay for something of this caliber. And I would choose this one over buying any of the others. So I'm going to say it's just right.
So, yeah, I would say it would be technically just right based on the current market and based on the fact that, yes, to your point, all the other Mario Tennises are a higher price point, right? But
the other good ones.
This is assuming you have a GameCube. So if you don't have this game... or
if you don't have a GameCube and you want to buy this game, you're going to be paying a bunch of money anyways.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, like, if you don't have a GameCube and you're just wanting to buy a GameCube to play this game, which I don't know why you would want to buy a GameCube just for this game, then I would say it's not worth it. But if you already have one and you don't feel like buying a $50 Switch game or $30-something Wii U game or whatever it may be, or the N64 version, then, yeah, I mean, $30, it's $31.35, $30 roughly. I would say it's just right based on the market and based on those other underlying factors. Now, if you want a loose copy, $17, it's not too bad right now. That's, given the market, $17 is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are on just right. So that balloon is not deflated and it's not inflated. It is just right. So we will have that located at some point in the near future on thegamedeflators.com.
Yay.
Yay. Under our reviews. And we didn't mention it before, but if you are catching us now on your standard podcast application, thanks for listening. If this is your first time, whether it is on YouTube or just overhearing us, which would be kind of creepy on your buddy's podcast.
If somebody's got this hooked up to a loudspeaker somewhere, thank you for all the exposure you could be randomly giving us.
Exactly. And those listening, Spotify, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Apple Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are found. And of course, 6-star reviews are always necessary.
We'll settle for 5.
Settling for 5.
We prefer 6.
All right, man.
Real fans would give 6 stars.
For sure. Okay, so we got to figure out what we're playing next week. We also got a really cool... Oh, I just hit my desk. We got a really cool feature that we want to do here pretty soon on some PS2 games and budget-type gaming and everything. We'll be unveiling that here. Hopefully, if it's not next week, it'll be in future episodes. We're going to have a whole thing about that.
We've got some new ideas coming your way soon.
Some really cool stuff. So I kind of want to play a PS2 game to get those gears rolling for us.
Sounds good to me.
Especially if we record twice next week. So
how about...
do I have black? If I have black, we should play that.
No.
What? How do I not have black? I am disappointed in myself. I need to buy that now. Ryan, you got 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh, what do you pick? I think that's an RPG.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out during the week. He picked up what was it, Legend of Legaia too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll pick it up next week. We'll find something to play. We'll let y'all know. It'll be a lot of fun. You're still picking up games. Okay, that's the one. That is what we are playing. We are going to play...
I remember this. This was a Toonami original anime series.
Oh, well, you're excited. Okay, so IGPX Immortal Grand Prix. This is... What the hell? We should play Kinetica as well sometime.
Okay.
It kind of reminds me of that, just looking at this. Okay, so next week, IGPX Immortal Grand Prix. That is episode 85 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.